My name is Linda Lunny. Until I retired 18 months ago, I worked in the Dictionary of Irish Biography, which is a project of the Royal Irish Academy. Kathleen Lonsdale got one of the over 9,000 biographies that we wrote for that publication. Along with a colleague, Enda Lini, I worked on her life. Why should we remember Kathleen Lonsdale? Why is this prize named in her honour? And why, more generally, should we remember her in Ireland? She hadn't the best start in life, at least to outward appearances. She was born in 1903, the youngest of 10 children, in Newbridge, County Kildare. Her father was an Englishman who was the town postmaster, but he had a drink problem. And when Kathleen was only a small girl, her mother separated from her father and took her family of 10 children to England. 4 of the children died in infancy, but Kathleen made a great success of her education. She got the top county scholarship to go to high school, and when she was 16, she was able to go to attend Bedford College for Women in London. The Nobel Prize-winning crystallographer W.H. Bragg was the external examiner on Kathleen's outstanding final degree exams, and he was so impressed by the diminutive and very determined young woman that there and then he asked her to join his group in University College London to study the crystals of organic compounds. She developed novel techniques and insights, and she was able to confirm the structure of the benzene ring, which was something that had puzzled scientists, including Bragg, for more than 60 years. Another major contribution was her compilation of essential reference tables for X-ray crystallography. So, we should remember Lonsdale for more than her contributions to chemistry, acknowledging her importance as a role model for women. And she was someone who made practical recommendations on the changes to society that would make it possible for more women to work in science and industry. And still, that isn't all. In 1935, she and her unusually supportive husband, Thomas Lonsdale, became members of the Society of Friends, and as Quakers, they opposed war. But Kathleen Lonsdale refused to register for war work, and thus was sentenced to a month in Holloway Prison. Her experiences of the dire conditions led her to become a campaigner for prison reform. Later, she also became internationally known as a leader in movements opposing nuclear testing and armaments. And to finish with, something to think about. A quotation from Lonsdale herself, which is at least as relevant today to young and to old scientists, at least as relevant as it was in the 1950s. I believe in good, not just as a hypothesis, but as absolutely fundamental to all my way of life. A scientist should take interest in national and international affairs, not as a politician, but in making sure that facts are properly known and trying to ensure that science is used for good and not for evil purposes.
Good afternoon, everybody. What an august, select number of people we have here in the Council Room at Academy House. You're all very welcome. So I'm Pat Gowrie, I'm the President of the Royal Irish Academy, but first and foremost, I'm a card-carrying chemist as well. So not quite sure how many former presidents there were chemists. I'm not sure of the 58. We maybe should look into that at some stage. So yeah, I mean, I'm delighted to be here and to recognise one person, Dr Chunchun Li. You're very welcome this afternoon, and to award her this prestigious prize, the Kathleen Lonsdale Prize, for her essay, Surface-Enhanced Raman Spectroscopy as a Probe of Surface Chemistry Enabled by Surface Accessible Plasmonic Nanomaterials. I've just come from the Government Authority and I read that out to 4 or 5 of my colleagues and they said, what? So I use my vast experience in materials chemistry to explain, first of all, what a surface plasmon is, what Raman spectroscopy is, what the relevance is. So anyhow, so warm welcome to Dr. Lee's PhD supervisor, Professor Stephen Bell. Welcome back. Winner from your group for the last 2 years out of 3. I think there should be some investigations. And the previous winner from 2019 is here. You're very welcome. I know yours was presented because of COVID virtually. So now you see what you missed. So you're very welcome as well. And in addition, we're joined here by Dr. Hugh Fay of Henkel Ireland. Henkel's generous sponsorship of this award is vital to ensuring that we recognise excellence in early career researchers in chemistry, and we're very grateful for that. I remember running as a member of the Physics Chemistry Committee, subcommittee here in the Royal Irish Academy about 15 years ago. I was put in charge of the PhD prize, so I've tried to hold on to it. There was a time when the Eli Lilly money ran out. I still remember those days where we had about 5 years where we presented a very nice envelope with no funds in it. So we had to get a very cheap certificate instead. But after searching for sponsors, we were very happy to find that Henkel Ireland actually, and they've been looking after us now for about 7 years, actually came into play. And Henkel Ireland is one of the few places, I think, in Ireland where they're doing really top level research and development. Many of the other industries, chemical industries, pharma industries, they do a lot of process chemistry and not as much on the research side. But certainly, if you ever go to work in Henkel, it's so sticky there, you'll never leave, and they really do look after you. Enough of the terrible chemistry puns and all the adhesive things that might come out of that. Anyway, so this prize is awarded annually by the Royal Irish Academy and to the most outstanding chemistry PhD thesis on the island of Ireland. It aims to inspire confidence in young researchers, rewarding their ambition and confirming their place in international chemistry research. The prize is named for, as you've just seen, an award in the spirit of the Irish X-ray crystallographer Kathleen Lonsdale. And as you've heard, she was a brilliant researcher, really from the beginning, publishing her first major contribution to crystallography at 21. And of course, as an organic chemist, in first years, I lectured about the organic chemistry of aromatic compounds like benzene. And we talk about its shape, its planar sp2 hybrid orbitals. We talk about Kikule, catching the snake by the end, and how they come up with cyclic structure. But of course, until Kathleen Lonsdale solved the X-ray crystal structure, not of benzene, because of course benzene's a liquid, as we all know in the audience. It was hexamethylbenzene, which is a solid. And by inference then, she was able to find that the structure was planar. And of course, that's a really seminal moment in organic chemistry and chemistry as a whole. So really a superb person. And actually yesterday I was walking through the CHQ in the IFSC, and EPIC, every person's connected to that museum, has a whole bunch of names and people, and Kathleen Lonsdale is one of those hanging out for the roof. And I didn't know it at the time, but it says that there's a particular diamond, Lonsdaleite, named after her. So there you go. So you really made it when you've had a diamond named after you. So I doubt there's going to be a Garyite. That doesn't even sound right. But Lonsdaleite has a little bit of a ring to it, so that's for sure. So as a scientist, and as you saw, a thoughtful and fearless female leader, she engaged with the world in ways which indeed still prove inspirational today. The announcement of the winner each year also marks her birthday in January. Every February, the winner of the Kathleen Lonsdale RIA Chemistry Prize is nominated by the Royal Irish Academy to be Ireland's entry to the prestigious International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, otherwise known as IUPAC. It's a Solvay International Award for young chemists. This is a highly competitive international prize, and IUPAC has members from over 60 countries, and winners of the international award are selected from a large volume of nominations. And in the past, certainly in the last 20 years, we've had people who've been nominated from Ireland who've got into the top 5 of that particular competition. No pressure, Chunchun, no pressure at all, but we will be watching as to how you do, and we will help you with that application. I know that has to get in. So the quality applications for the prize this year, and we'll hear from people involved in the assessment, was again once outstanding. I don't know how you choose between excellence and excellence, but it really is a tough job. And we'll hear from Professor Sylvia Draper, who is a member of the judging panel, about the particular judging process, but also the impressive range of projects of the PhD theses that were submitted. However, first of all, we'll hear from last year's winner, Dr. Priyanka Ganguly.
Hello all. My name is Priyanka Ganguly, and I'm the winner of the Kathleen Lonsdale Chemistry Prize for 2022. It is my pleasure to be in front of you today and talk about my PhD research. My work focused on two fundamental challenges of the 21st century, namely sustainable energy and environmental remediation. I worked on the synthesis of novel nanomaterials and exploring their use as photocatalysts for hydrogen generation and degradation reactions. I also worked on antimicrobial disinfection and the use under visible light. The production of energy from sustainable sources is essential for reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and mitigating the negative impact on climate change. The use of photocatalyst is a promising approach and a small step towards achieving this goal. Additionally, my research also focused on environmental remediation of pharmaceutical effluents and antimicrobial disinfection. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly highlighted the importance of disinfection, and my work has resulted in the development of new and effective methods of disinfection under visible light. Winning the Kathleen Lonsdale Chemistry Prize for last year was a marquee moment in my PhD career, and I view it as a recognition of the value of science in the betterment of humanity and has only motivated me to work harder and to become a better research professional. Post my PhD, I worked as a Marie Curie early stage researcher in the University of Glasgow, and currently I am a lecturer at London Metropolitan University in the UK. I would like to offer my heartiest congratulations to this year's winner of the Kathleen Lonsdale Chemistry Prize, and I wish you the very best for your future endeavours. Thank you all for listening.
Great, I'm sure you'll agree after watching that video. It shows the impact of winning the Kathleen Lonsdale Prize for the winners, and really is important to support early career researchers. That's so critical. I'd like now to thank the expert judging panel of the Kathleen Lonsdale Prize for their commitment and expertise, and indeed the difficult task of selecting a winner. The prize judges were Professor Sylvia Draper, Professor of Inorganic Chemistry at Trinity College Dublin, Dr Neva Boyle, Assistant Professor in Pharmaceutical Chemistry in Trinity College Dublin, easy for me to say, Professor Christine O'Connor, Head of Environmental Health and Safety Management in the School of Food Science and Environmental Health at Technological University Dublin, Dr John O'Donoghue, the Royal Society Education Coordinator in the School of Chemistry, also Trinity College Dublin, and Professor Peter Robertson, Professor of Chemical Engineering at Queen's University in Belfast. I now would like to invite Professor Sylvia Draper to say a few words about this year's competition and indeed about our winner. Sylvia.
Thank you, Pat. And in particular, thank you to Chunchun for giving me an excuse to be here. So I'm really delighted to have been a judge. We have a physics, chemistry and mathematics committee, a multidisciplinary committee, and essentially the chemists sitting on that committee are always delighted to put up their hand to be a judge of this particular competition, because what it does is it gives you a taste of the next generation of chemists coming through Ireland, and what you see is just an outstanding example of quality. And this year was no exception. And I'm actually here not as the chair of the committee. Christine O'Connor is the chair. She was unable to be here today. But really, the chemists on that PCMS, this is one of the highlights of our year. So it recognises the best PhD thesis in Ireland, and that is no mean feat. This is the 10th year of the prize, so you're actually the winner of the decade in many ways. This year there were 13 entries, which doesn't sound high, but I know that it was one of the highest number of entries. And also I believe that there's an enormous amount of filtering going on, and that people only submit competitive applications, ones that they really think are in a position to win the award. So Pat has already told us about where those applications came from, but it was we always have the whole of Ireland represented. So from north to south to east to west, it can be the University of Galway, it could be UCD, it can be Queen's, it can be the Royal College of Surgeons, you name it, every corner of the island is putting forward competitive applications, which again for me tells us that the standard across the island of Ireland is it doesn't matter where you are, excellent chemistry is going on. So as always, the standard was very high. This year, it was a unanimous decision from the judges. So all mark independently or declare conflicts of interest, all mark independently, and they all came to the same conclusion. So Chunchun, congratulations. Your essay was called Surface Enhanced Raman Spectroscopy as a Probe of Surface Chemistry Enabled by Surface Accessible Plasmonic Nanomaterials. So it's quite a mouthful. But basically what you did is you've really worked on understanding and controlling nanosurfaces using surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy. Raman spectroscopy is a technique known to many, but what you did is you've altered and extended that application so that you can use it for looking at materials in situ in water. And that means that's in real environmental and biological conditions, and those kind of analyses are so very, very important, because what it means is that you've developed potentially a new sensor for looking at monitoring. And that really is a remarkable achievement, coupled with the fact that you were able to look at different interactions, so that you've now established, how pi bonds bonding to your copper and silver surfaces might look, and also to think about how they might be used as sensors because of the interaction between them and the surface. So your essay was excellent. It resonated with everybody that read it. At the time of her application, she had 10 first author publications, and I suspect that there is even more since. She also had an additional 9 from collaborative work. This is an absolutely breathtaking number of outputs from any PhD student. I know that your supervisor, Steve Bell, is very, very proud of you. And I know that it was the environment in his group that helped to support you and give you the opportunities to shine. And shine you genuinely have. You had tremendously strong letters of recommendation, and your essay proved not only your ability to articulate your work and explain it to non-experts, but it also showed that you were the author of the work, and that you are committed to going on to make science your life and your career. So I saw nothing but an outstanding chemist with a track record of discoveries that's going to go on and on. So we're absolutely delighted. So I think Hugh is going to come up here with me. We're really delighted to nominate you as the winner today, but also I know that your essay went forward for the IUPAC Solvay Young Chemists Prize. My notes say that unfortunately you weren't the winner, but that, look, to be the national representative of anything is an absolutely outstanding achievement. And I'm going to hand over to Hugh now, because I know...
Just say a few words before you get your prize. That's okay. Thank you so much for inviting us here. It's a rotten day outside, but this is a really good day at the office for me. I really like this. I have to congratulate the Academy for the last few years in keeping this going virtually. It was really hard, particularly the first year. I think it was really hard, and you did a really lovely job. And I see someone's face there who's square. We only saw another in the square before. It's the 7th year, as you said, Pat, that we've had the honour of sponsoring this prize. Now, it is something that's very heartfelt to us. We have about 100 people in R&D in Tala, and across all levels of the organisation, 45% of those have PhDs. So sponsoring young researchers in particular is something that we're actually interested in. There's no Henkel sign. This isn't for the glory. We're not getting extra sales because of this. It's because it's something we believe in. And something I do emphasise every year, and it's really important to us as well, is the sponsorship money actually comes from headquarters in Dusseldorf. They have a fund that globally sponsors social projects such as this, and a jury there decide that the Kathleen Lonsdale Prize is a worthy recipient of the monies. That's getting Dusseldorf euro into Irish hands and into the RIA is a great thing, and they don't do it lightly. I did read your essay, and I memorised the title of your essay, which I won't put myself under the pressure of saying since we said twice already. I was going through it myself. I said, no, I won't bother. But it's clear you're a most worthy winner from everything you said, and Sylvia, what you said there, absolutely. And I know surfaces are great. Myself and Stephen had a quick chat earlier. It's where all the action has, and personally, I'm delighted the surface chemistry one. So congratulations from my point of view. Thank you.
extremely grateful to RIA for this honor. Receiving this prize is a dream come true and a huge confidence boost. Winning this prize, especially as an international student, is really encouraging, and it really reflects Ireland's internationalism. It's even more meaningful now that I've learned the story of Dr. Kathleen Lonsdale, who is now my new inspiration as a woman in science. Before starting, I would like to thank Anna, Sheila, Carol, our sponsor, Henkel, and everybody else involved for all hard work to pull this ceremony off. Thank you for this unforgettable experience and opportunity to express my gratitude to those who helped me during my PhD. So today, I would like to share with you a story of a little girl born in a remote town in Western China called Dushanzi. So it means, in Chinese, it means a solitary mountain. As a child, she had many dreams, but none were to become a scientist since this wasn't thought to be for girls. Dushanzi was such a small town that it only had one high school, so life was straightforward until she had to decide where to go for university and what she wanted to study. As a teenager, she first thought of her acne. So, thinking of pharmaceuticals and the possible solutions, she decided to venture to a big city to study chemistry. But university was not at all what she had imagined. Her acne cleared up all by itself, and the chemistry was hard and obscure, and there were very few female scientists, all of which led to her losing interest and felt extremely unconfident. Just on the brink of quitting on chemistry, she met the first important person in her scientific career, Dr. Yi Kai-Xu. After listening to her about her situation, Yi Kai only asked one question: why give up so quickly without getting to know chemistry properly? This question prompted her to come to Belfast a year later to have a taste of chemistry research. There, she met another important person, Professor Stephen Bell. Stephen has a real passion for science and life. He is always happy to chat about science and can see interesting parallels between chemistry and everyday life to arouse the curiosity and interest of his students. He is also extremely patient and seems to always understand what she is trying to say with her limited English. He is super encouraging. He always finds a way to support her, whether that's an untested idea or a research seminar halfway across the globe. She still remembers when she was a PhD freshman and there was a very important conference in New Zealand. The travel will obviously cost a fortune, but he only asked her one question: do you want to go? And she said yes, and with no hesitation, Stephen just paid all the fees. So, on top of this, he also gives all the credit to his student. I can go on and on, but there is no time. All in all, besides being a good supervisor, Stephen has obviously become a great friend and mentor for her, and he helped build the girl's skills, confidence, and passion for chemistry. Besides Stephen, Yi Kai also had a great influence on her PhD research in Belfast as well. As a senior PhD student in the group, he demonstrated to her through words and action the work ethic and hard-nosed mentality necessary to thrive in science. He helped her to ignore the noise around her, focus on research, and to be true in life. Importantly, Yi Kai was awarded the Kathleen Lonsdale Prize in 2019, and watching his accomplishment is definitely a huge inspiration to her. Of course, Throughout this journey, there were also the selfless support from countless people that was all crucial in forging the confidence and abilities of the girl. Amongst them are her beloved family, her colleagues in Belfast, and her lovely friends, such as Tanashat, who always cared for her like family, and Josh, who always had something interesting to share and always there to help when she needed. It is really great to have you here today at the ceremony. I really appreciate it. During her PhD, she also received a lot of help from Professor Peijun Hu and Professor A.P. De Silva. AP may well be the smartest and yet most humble man she knows. Much of her work would not have the depth it has without AP's unique chemistry insights. And Peijun is always full of energy. As the coordinator of our international exchange program, he is always there to lend a hand. It's thanks to all these amazing people that today she is able to stand here and say, "Hello everyone, my name is Chunchun Li. I'm so honored to receive this year's Kathleen Lonsdale Prize. Receiving this prize is a great way to close the chapter on my PhD, and it is a great encouragement for the adventures ahead." Oops. Sorry. Finally, to close my talk, I want to give a shout out to Ireland. In Chinese, we have an old saying, "Home is where the heart lies." Since coming to Ireland and Queen's University Belfast, I felt nothing but welcome, kindness, and respect. And now, after 7 years studying at Queen's, Belfast has definitely become a second home to me, which makes this experience all the more special. Thank you all for coming and listening. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Li. It was really interesting to hear about your time growing up in China and your career to date and how pivotal a moment it was to come to Belfast. And you're very fortunate to work in the group of Professor Bell, well known as a fantastic mentor for students, but also fantastic science. So that has been really interesting to hear about your journey. Thanks to all of the guests for coming here today, all the members who are involved, all the judges, all the Academy staff who organised today. Sheila, a big 3 cheers to you. Thank you very much. Well done. And of course to our sponsor, without which we wouldn't be here today. So again, and we look forward to working with you again next year. So Hugh, thank you again for that. And with that, I think it's stopped raining outside. It was absolutely pouring rain when I came in. So hopefully it'll be a nice day, and all the very best wishes for the future. Good luck in your career. Good luck.